Good. It's your man, 100 Grand Ross with The Rock Never Stops. Today, I want to talk about these Orlando Magic, man. I think it's a special place that they're at. They have a young, talented roster. They got their superstar, they got their all stars, they have first team all defensive level players. They have a really good coach in Jamal Mosley. And I think that they're primed to make the jump. But what I want to talk about today is, can they make the big leap? Can they make the big leap that not even Shaq, Dwight Howard, former number one picks, were able to make with the Orlando Magic? And that's winning an NBA championship. I want to dive into that in this video. But before I do, if you haven't already, if you enjoyed the channel, this is an interactive live. So if you enjoyed this space, I ask that you smash the like button for me. It's a little thing, but it's a big thing for the channel. Really helps out with the YouTube algorithm and really gives a lot of support for people to, you know, uh, gain more notice about this channel and opportunities to listen in. Also, hit subscribe and the bell for notifications. I really appreciate everyone who shows love, comes through for support, especially in this off-season dog days of the season. Some of us love it still, following FIBA, everything else, open runs, Rico Hines, stuff like that, training camps. Others are just waiting for the season to start. So I appreciate everybody who definitely comes through. Smash the like button. All that's to say is, can they do it? Can they do it? Can the Orlando Magic, led by Paolo Banchero, Franz Wagner, Jalen Suggs, and now Desmond Bain, can they get over the hump? Can they win a championship? And as strange as it may seem, that this team, who's been knocked out of the first round year after year for the past couple seasons, might actually be able to win a championship in the next year or two. Who knows? I don't think it's as absurd as it may seem. When I think about Shaquille O'Neal got to the NBA Finals in his second year with the Orlando Magic at the age of 22. Paolo Banchero is 22. Dwight Howard got to the NBA Finals against Kobe and the Lakers, Bynum, Paul Gasol, and them. And without Jameer Nelson, which was, damn, I always thought if they had Jameer, bro, they had Jameer. Who knows? But he gets there at 23. Paolo Banchero is 22 going on 23. Now, I'm not saying this is the year. I'm also not saying that it's not. But the reality is this team's roster construction finally is beginning to make sense. Desmond Bain being the shooter, playmaker, shot creator, facilitator that they need, who can also take the ball out of Paulo and Franz's hands, I think is a major addition for this team. And I think is going to help them to make incredible strides in moving forward as a franchise, moving forward as an organization, becoming a more efficient offense. I think it's going to lend right to that high level, absolutely elite defense that Jamal Mosley has the Orlando Magic playing. But there's some questions that I also have too. Can Jalen Suggs be the lead guard for this team? If I'm honest with you, I always saw Jalen Suggs as a skilled, lesser shooting guard. I saw him as an Andrew Nimhard, less floor general, but just as good defensively and bigger at 6'5". But I never saw him as the guy who stirs the offensive pot. I never saw him as the primary facilitator or even floor general to run a team, especially going into the playoffs. I've never seen that from him. In fact, I've probably seen more shot creation ability than I have the ability to run a team at a high level. Now, I'm not saying that he can't. And please do recognize that I'm acknowledging that this is the NBA. This is the highest level in the world in terms of competitive basketball. You put Jalen Suggs in FIBA right now on any team, he's their best player. He looks like a superstar in the making. But he's in the NBA. And in the NBA, there's levels to this. There's levels to this. When I think about how Shaq was able to get to the NBA Finals with Penny Hardaway, he needed a setup guy. And not to say that Shaq couldn't have got his numbers without a setup guy, right? He goes to the Lakers, doesn't have Penny anymore. He's still putting up big numbers. He's an all-star, all-NBA, MVP candidate. He's incredible. And when he wins a championship, he's got a Derek Fisher. So you don't always need that superstar facilitator, but he needs a facilitator. Shaq needed a facilitator. Same thing with Dwight Howard. He needed a Jameer Nelson. Wasn't saying that he couldn't put up numbers wherever else that he would go, but when you have a guy who can set you up, when you have a guy to get the ball to you in the spots that you need, make the game easy for you, it allows you to play at a level that I think many times gets understated, underacknowledged. It doesn't quite get the fanfare and recognition that it deserves. Right? Dirk Nowitzki, he made his ascension. He made his big leap, not even just with Steve Nash, because that was short lived, right? He made it with Jason Kidd when he had a high level floor general who was also an elite defender who could feed him the ball right where he wanted it, get him into his spots. One of the major reasons why he was able to dominate the Miami Heat, I'm talking about Dirk Nowitzki, is because of that. It's because Jason Kidd could orchestrate the offense. He could control the flow of the game. He can set up the floor so that his primary guy constantly was getting the ball in his best position. In fact, when you have a great floor general, you have someone who's able to shift the offense and the defense so that whatever scheme that the defense was doing, they can peep it, perceive it, figure it out, and say, okay, that's what y'all doing. You know what? You go over there. You go over there. You set it down. Go away. Set it. Come back. And I'm going to get you the ball over here. Right on the spot. You don't have to wait for a timeout. You don't have to wait for the coaches to figure it out. You don't have to wait for the scheme to change, lose the game, go back in the playoffs and figure it out in the locker room with the coaching staff, and they create a scheme and you practice it, and then you go to the next game in the playoffs and figure out how to beat it. No, in real time, that floor general is able to see what's going on and make changes so that their primary scorer can get the ball where they need it and maximize their scoring ability. That's why Dirk was able to dominate so much. He wasn't bringing that thing up. He wasn't advancing the ball after a rebound and setting up the offense like a LeBron James would or could, right? Not even like a D Wade could, right? It doesn't matter if you're a good ball handler, if you're a guy with those skills, you need someone to make it easy for you. And that's the point that I'm making here. And the question that I have, this is the question. Is Jalen Suggs the guy to lead the Orlando Magic to the promised land? Look, I know Paolo Banchero is the goods. I believe Paolo Banchero is going to be a top 5 player. He's going to be the future alongside of Anthony Edwards of the NBA and Victor Wembanyama and Cade Cunningham and them, right? I totally believe that. I believe that Franz Wagner can be a great kind of tertiary guy. I wouldn't say your number 2 scorer. I don't think he's your number 2 scorer. I don't think he's a playmaker, shot creator in that manner. I don't think he'll ever get there. But he could take advantage of mismatches, almost in that Scottie Pippen role. But you still needed Jordan and Kukoc, right? You needed that other guy, all right? And I don't think that that's Franz to be that 20-plus point per game scorer in the playoffs consistently. Someone who can buoy the ship even when Paolo Banchero sits down. All right, I don't think he's a Jalen Williams or a J Dub to SGA. But I think Desmond Bane, he offers enough of an offensive punch that he can offset that. That if you get just enough from Franz and just enough from Desmond Bane, it'll be what you need. What's up, Dev? I listened to Rondo say exactly what you're saying about playing with the Hall of Fame level players. He said he took pride in making the game easier for them. Facts. Facts. And most great point guards do. Chris Paul, right? Rajon Rondo, Steve Nash, Jason Kidd, Gary Payton, right? These guys understand what it means to run the team and they take pride in it to a high level. I mean, they're out there having coaching sessions without the coaches with their teammates. They're sitting down, Rondo sitting down with KG, Pierce, Allen, uh, uh, in a locker room, at a hotel room, over dinner, talking about, hey, man, yo, when they do this, where do you need the ball? What are you looking for? What would best set you up? And I think that that's what makes them special. That's what makes them special. Here is here's what I'm seeing. And rock with me on this. Let me know what you think. I think the solution is Anthony Black. I think the solution is Anthony Black. Don't get me wrong, we all love Jalen Suggs, but not everybody is for the long haul. Not everybody is the one who's going to get you there. Sometimes you sacrifice a piece that you love, a really good player, to get the right player, to get the right piece to win a championship. In the same way that the Boston Celtics had to trade away Marcus Smart to be able to bring in a Porzingis, a Drew Holiday, and they got the right guys for that championship run. I think it might be the same way the Orlando Magic are going to have to do with Jalen Suggs. Look, we all love Jalen, but the reality is he got his extension, right? Let me see what his extension was for. 35. It's a descending contract. Wow, that's actually a great deal for them. That is actually an amazing deal. But the reality is, I don't think he fits the role. I don't think he fits the role. When I see Anthony Black, I see a point guard of the ilk of a Gary Payton, of the ilk of a Jason Kidd. The guy that may not blow you away with stats. You may not see him average 20 plus points per game, but he makes the plays. He makes the right plays, and he makes everything look easy out there. He reminds me kind of Alonzo Ball, if I'm honest with you. If I'm honest with you, he reminds me of Alonzo Ball. Lonzo Ball, we all know him by now, right? Lakers, Pelicans, Bulls, now with the Cleveland Cavaliers, who, man, if he's healthy for a playoff run, I did a video on that. If he's healthy for a playoff run, I'm not betting against the Cavs. All this to say is Anthony Black could be the type of guard that can lead that team, that can figure things out in real time, that can take the ball out of Paolo and Franz's hands, out of Desmond Bane's hands, and put them in the right position to make the game easy. He's the type of point guard that gets all these pieces flowing and everyone gets to eat. Everyone is getting a high percentage shot. And just when you think you can focus on everyone else and not him, he's going to be able to blow past his defender and get a dunk, get a layup. And he's one of those guards that can put you in a position where you're always at a disadvantage. You don't know what he's going to do. You don't know the decision he's going to make. All you know is you're in trouble. Because standing in front of you is a 6'8" point guard who's probably got close to a 38-inch vertical, great wingspan, can dunk on you. He's physical, he's explosive, he's strong. And he also loves to set everyone else up. He loves to make everyone else better. So what do you do? You know, when I think about this Orlando Magic team, I think they have the right pieces. They have the right pieces. You look at how they solidified that bench with Tyus Jones. I love how the interview over the summer, they were interviewing Jamal Mosley. I think it was at Summer League, and he was talking about Tyus Jones and just all the connection points for this team. You got the Duke connection between Paolo and Wendell. You got the Minnesota connection between Tyus Jones and Jalen Suggs. You got and Tyus Jones has the Duke connection, right? You have all these guys who not only connect with one another, but are really bought in, to playing with each other, to getting better with each other, achieving with each other. And I think what we're going to see is this is going to be a roster that isn't going to have any trouble with playing for each other. Not just competing with each other, but playing for each other. They are rooting for each other. They want each other to play well. They want each of them to excel. So when I look at this roster and I see Jonathan Isaac coming off the bench, I see Anthony Black, Goga Bitadze, I see Tristan Da Silva, Tyus Jones. I begin to see a team that has depth and a whole lot of talent. Now, I don't know if this means that Jalen Suggs might have to go to the bench. It could. It could. Because when I look at this team and I look at Tyus Jones off the bench and Anthony Black, there's a bit of duplication there. But if you bring Jalen Suggs off the bench, you bring him in as a scorer with Tristan Da Silva, Mo Wagner, Goga. All of a sudden, I think he makes more sense. So I don't know if you have to trade him. I don't know if you just need to switch around his position. But I think Anthony Black is the one to move that team forward from the starting lineup. I think that's the guy that they need to go with. But hey, as always, I want to know what you all think. What do you think of the Orlando Magic in their championship contention window and potential? Do you think that this is a team that can actually get over the hump in a way that Shaq and Dwight Howard weren't able to? Do you think that Jalen Suggs is the one to lead this roster? I think it's Anthony Black. But I want to know what you all think. Let me know in the comment section. Like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. I'm going to get at y'all next time. Peace.